So, wanted to talk today about gratitude for 2018 and what a year it's been. Now, in no stretch of the imagination am I shutting off, but I just thought it would fit with doing a post for gratitude right before Thanksgiving, because I've been reflecting a lot about gratitude with just this entire year. So in a lot of ways, this year has been like 20 years of growth all in 1 year. So everything, you guys, from everything from spiritual to mental to emotional to relational to playful to financial, I've been stretched like never before. So if you've ever felt like that, or whatever the current thing that you feel like is growing you the most, feel free to comment what that is below. And so with that in mind, I kind of broke down 2018 into 3 elements of faith, focus, and feeling. And what's really interesting is if you look back to my very first post for 2018, it was all about vibes, value, and tribe. And so I am super grateful because I feel like my vibes have gone to a whole different level with just everything on how I choose to show up in love, how I choose to show up in faith, how I choose to focus on joy, how I choose to focus on gratitude. So that, and then also just value, just giving and creating value and sharing love, whether that's, picking up a piece of trash, whether that's opening the door for someone, whether that's been developing things like the podcast or the blog or doing features or creating things with the community, or just different ways to problem solve and add value back to the world. And vibes, value, and tribe. So tribe. So I am so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful for the community that continues to show up. I literally today, you guys, just had so much gratitude in this meeting that I had with a huge women in a technology organization in a fitness tech company. And I was really reflecting on how years ago I worked in a company where we would have, I don't know if you've ever been there, but comment down below if you're currently there or you've ever been there, that you have so many meetings and you feel like nothing ever changes at every meeting, or anything ever gets done, or maybe it's you and 2 other people that are doing all of it, and you almost become like meeting or connection averse. Meaning, you're like, if someone even mentions meeting, you're like, hell no. So that was me, you guys, back in like 2008, because at one point when I was working as a accounting support training manager in over 50 locations across the US, I promise you, and I'm not exaggerating, I looked at my calendar back some years, there was weeks that I would have 30 meetings in a week, and meetings that would repeat the same information because it was like moving Titanic off of the ocean floor. So fast forward to 2011, when people started asking me to have meetings as an entrepreneur or to connect, I was almost like, no, don't make me do it. I'm afraid. Fast forward to today, and fast forward to tribe, and fast forward to community. So I got the opportunity to have this meeting and present on different ways that we could partner with health, with money, with business, with hosting workshops, with hosting masterminds, including tips, tools, and technology like Herbalife, like Kajabi, which is a all-in-one marketing platform and email automation and course creation, like business plan tools and all these different things. So I had the blessing of first being in their leadership meeting before she announced, my presentation, and before she announced my speaking. And I watched their vibe and watched how many things they were getting done, you guys. Like, their vibe was so freeing, so like friendship related, so like high vibe. And at the same time, they were like getting things done. Like, things were being knocked out. Everybody was super helpful, super community driven. It was just amazing. And that was the first thing I said when she introduced me to speak, that I said, you know, one, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful that Nicole connected us. Two, I'm just looking at here like, wow, your vibe of freedom, your community, your connection, like this gives me confirmation that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be before we even get to anything else. Because more and more and more, I started really paying attention to how people showed up and how people interacted. And I know I've also been in negative states years ago, but that's because I wasn't fully aligned with passion or purpose, or I didn't know what I didn't know. So that was kind of how I started off 2018, okay? And then, like I said, I'm in no way, shape, or form like checking out, but this is part of the gratitude post. Hey, thanks for joining. So then, as I reflect on 2018, and as I reflect on so much that's happened in the last, 10, 11 months almost, I really think about, number one is faith. So the belief and the faith that I've grown, no matter the circumstances that I see, whether that is spiritual, whether that is mental, whether that is emotional, financial, in relation to passion and purpose, in relation to my future love, just everything, the ability that I've developed with our Creator to stay calm and to stay focused on what I want more and more and more, like I'm so proud of that. And it's funny because more and more recently more and more, I've had several people say to me, you seem like you're so calm and you seem like you're so excited all the time and you seem this, and I just bust out laughing, you guys. I was like, wow. I said, I'm glad and I'm very grateful that you feel that. And that's definitely what I focus on. And that's definitely the intention of choosing to show up in that way. But understand, it is not easy, and understand, although I'm creating for the future, there are still current circumstances that I do not particularly enjoy, from a mental, sometimes with anxiety, sometimes but I bounce back faster, and financial and different things that are not particularly comfortable oftentimes. Anyone else relate? So with faith, and at the same time, you guys being very grateful for that. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to go stay at an Airbnb on a farm, and I really reflected with journaling, I really reflected with meditation, with fasting. I still ended up cranking out like a book and a half, and then playing with the animals, and I felt like, although time stood still, so much still happened. Like there was more than enough time, so much abundance of time. And I really reflected on just the level of faith and belief and fighting for that faith, fighting for that freedom, that believing that our Creator and the universe is limitless, whatever it is that you believe. And then focus, or the feeling. And with the feeling, also thinking about all the feelings that I've had the opportunity to experience this year. So this year has been such an emotional and mental roller coaster on so many levels. Comment if you relate, comment if you've experienced that, comment if you're experiencing that. So what do I mean by that? So from an aspect of, for years in the past, I was known to be very unstable. Hey, thank you for joining, you guys. Very unstable, or also very reactionary off the littlest things. Because also as a reformed OCD control freak, I allowed a lot of different things to disturb my peace. So I was also very clear this year, as I was fighting for faith, as I was fighting for freedom, that those things were going to come at me to test me, to see how prepared I was for promotion in life, or for the next level of leadership. And I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not losing whatever the promotion is, or whatever the next, level is, or whatever the next person is that is supposed to come to me, or the next level of abundance, because I can't manage to stay calm. And it's all about self-mastery. It's all about learning yourself. So where before I knew I could have a tendency of being unstable, it was like, okay, if this is my prior behavior for years, or if previous things would disturb my peace, how can I make sure that I stay in a place of peace? and a place of calm and a place of freedom and a place of holding, not only for myself, but for others. So in that feeling, it was like, well, who do I want to be despite the circumstance? And it was, you know, I want to be love. I choose to be joy. I choose to be freedom. I choose to be calm. I choose to be peace. I choose to focus on what do I want. And so with that, the focus, you guys, so when I reflected on the back end of from that first post in January of Vibes, Value, and Tribe, to, you know, focusing on spiritual, on mental, on emotional, on relational, on playful, on creating community, on all these aspects, I also reflected on things that got done and things that got completed, and massive leaps of faith and massive facing of fears. And I'm going to share some things with fourth quarter and also some things that really spoke to me today. So in January, we completed the Transformation Academy online. January through March, we worked with, directed, vetted, collaborated with directly and indirectly over 3,000 influencers, you guys. Like, that blows my brain. Like, just that aspect of community and of people and management and flow and systems, and holding for that and creating that and divine downloads and so many different things. And if I'm capable and I can figure it out and teach it in 3 to 5 steps, you are too. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't learn something and that something isn't teachable or scalable, because it absolutely is. If Apple and Best Buy and all these, you know, companies and GMAT can scale and teach people how to do things, you can learn anything. So the Academy. Then April, May, June, learning how to, so I'm kind of breaking things down in quarters. So that was huge, you guys, getting in front of video more and more. So how you see me talk to you now on video, this is not at all how I was. It was like, oh my God, does my hair look perfect? Or, oh my God, I have to stop this. Or I can't just be myself. Or, because for years before that, I had done public speaking since in college. Anywhere from, you know, 5, 10 people up to even 10,000 people. But it's very, very, very different when you're speaking to someone in live. At least I think so. Maybe for some people video is easier because that's how they started. This is my journey. So it's very, for me, it was easier when someone was in front of me versus learning to talk to the camera when I can't see you or feel you and feel your energy in the room. But then learning to reframe and say, hey, just act like you're talking to your best friend, or just pretend there's 5 people or 10 people or 10,000 people in front of you. So that's my tip to you if you're wanting to get on video more or interact more. Then the other aspect was I decided, in alignment with creating more community, you guys, in May, to take a leap of faith of investing further in myself and in the business to joining WeWork. So that's where I'm filming now. So if you don't know what WeWork is, and I'll include a link in the post in case you want a discount or in case you want a promo or whatnot to join. It's a co-working space all around the globe, and that you can office out of, collaborate with entrepreneurs, that we also get to host TGIMs, like thank goodness it's Mondays, that they support, also lunch and learns, and like just incredible network of different things. So that happened in May and started hosting those. Then July, August, September, wow. So I had already started planting the seeds. I knew I was going in July to Herbalife Extravaganza, the Super Bowl of Herbalife. So in case you're interested in that, we're also doing our Herbalife Extravaganza event in New Orleans. So that's coming up in July. And I knew I was going to that in Houston. And I used to live in Houston, for those of you that don't know. And I set an intention that I knew I wanted to go visit my prior childhood home. And you guys, I not only got to visit the home, but I got to meet the family that lives there now. And I can't tell you how freeing it was to not only see the house, but to also get to interact with it and to see the family that lives there now, to create say, you know, goodbye to the old memories, but also see it in a new light as now it's someone else's home. Also interact with, you know, old friends while I was there. So that's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Not only was I vamping up events, and we were vamping up events and creating community, we'd already launched the podcast. Then I had already started planting seeds to host pop-up masterminds in London, as well as Barcelona, wrapped around going to go visit family. Because also, you guys, without getting into too much detail, my mom also went through quite a bit of different health challenges this year. So that was really hard for us as a family. And not just that, but also going there and then seeing it face to face with someone, and you guys know, like if your mom or your dad is very strong, and to see them even struggling, then that weighs on you and pushes you even more. And so many dimensions. And before visiting there, I also got to go to TBEX, a travel bloggers conference in New York, in Corning, New York, and host speed networking with influencers. And we got to work, and we've gotten to work with over 15 different platforms, as well as creating our own to create community with influencers. So that's been growing and growing and spreading. So it's been amazing. And getting outreach directly from people and expanding and just so many things. And then, so January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, we set the intention to create more community, to do more things internationally, hosted pop-ups in London. So you can't imagine, like you guys, I've traveled to over 25 countries, but I had never in the past, without the umbrella of a company, hosted things or created things myself directly that wasn't a side hustle. And even then, side hustles I didn't do internationally unless it was just like via Skype or via Zoom. So you can't imagine the levels of emotion and fear and insecurity that came up. To say I'm going overseas, I'm gonna meet people I haven't met with, maybe only via social media, maybe via over the phone with a couple conversations of a few of people, and host a whole 4-hour event. So there was a lot of things that came up. So we hosted it. It was a great event in London. It had Celia Litvin. She's a mental health expert, gaming. She's got an emotional fitness app, EQ, that's super fun, that I've loved playing on lately. Also, Michelle Lowbridge, that's been featured on Forbes, several different media outlets as a wealth expert, came, several other people. We hosted it mainly as PR, mainly as me overcoming my fears, was the intention behind it, and creating value freely and brand buzz freely. Then doing the same thing in Barcelona after visiting my family, and in Austria, my brother, my sister-in-law, working till 2, 3 in the morning, because knowing that time was precious. Because years ago, you guys, I would work, hustle, and put everything and everyone else aside. And if that's your journey, that's okay. Like, I'm not saying that's not the perfect journey for you, but I'm sharing from the spectrum of years ago when I got through corporate, got into roles like a support trading manager, chief audit exec with 3 business units. I got there through sacrificing family. I got there through sacrificing relationship and not being fully like operating on a 10 in all areas of my life. I operated maybe on an 8, 9, 10 on a work ethic and on a financial aspect, but on a spiritual, on a mental, on a physical, on a playful, I would give myself like a 1 or a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. Or if we're doing grades, like in high school, from A to F, I would have given myself like an A, maybe like a B in finances, because there was still a lot of clutter, or a C because there was a lot of fear, even though the money was there. The work ethic was like A. Actually, no, because I sacrificed the family, I sacrificed the health, I sacrificed my own passion and purpose. The work ethic and the action was there, but the faith and the feeling was like a D, and as in dog, as in David. But again, everything happens for a reason, and everything's perfect as it is. But that taught me, you guys, that this time around, with being an entrepreneur and focusing on freedom and focusing on faith, that I wasn't going to do those things, because those moments to me and the journey to me and those miracles of the moments and being there for my mom is priceless. So with that, through that journey, so that kind of gives you the insight through the last several months, and then hosting those masterminds, coming back to more climbing through circumstances, more focusing through Mount Everest, whether it's spiritual, mental, financial, all the above, dealing and doing the best that I can in the moment while still focusing on creating the future that I want and moving past the circumstances, past the past, past the present, to create the future that I want for now, for 2019, for 2020, for my family, for the legacy, giving to help end homelessness, giving to help end cancer, giving to help battered women, giving to help military vets, and more, that the purpose is much bigger than myself, and reframing my mind and constantly stretching and shifting. So coming back from that trip, then revamping my routine again after being in so many different time zones, zero complaints, just simply sharing like from an aspect of shifts. Then thinking, okay, what else can I do? So fourth quarter, right? So now we're in October, November, December. So if you haven't checked out my post on fourth quarter, then you may want to look at that as well, because I break down even more steps. So in fourth quarter, looking at, okay, what else can I do now to create the life that I want now? How else can I stretch? So I shared earlier with the meeting on the tech aspects, reaching out you guys to, and having meetings right now with higher educational institutions to create integrative programs with hands-on health, hands-on money, hands-on business, so they not only possibly get certifications or degrees now, but they actually learn how to implement now and make money now while they're in the program, along with the tips, tools, and tech like Herbalife, like Kajabi, like Canva, like all these things. Because I think back when I was in college, or I think, okay, what if I was going to school now? Or what if I was 20 now? Because technically it's like I'm in undergrad or the graduate school of life now. So I thought to myself, I would have loved to have a hands-on implementation program that would teach me not just theory or concepts or whatnot, that would teach me how to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, or whatever it is that you want to be now. So we already have that in process with a higher educational institution, you guys. And that is massive leaps of faith. That is relationship. This came through a relationship that I've cultivated that I had no idea it was going to lead to this. I was selflessly focusing on this person and their priceless aspect as a human. I met her at Buckhead Business Association. Shout out to April. She had no idea. We talked all about wellness. She actually works at Georgia State. She recently got promoted to student experiences, okay? So through that, she got promoted. She saw what we were doing. She was inspired and is inspired by what we are doing. She's actually coming to our Herbalife event this month. She wanted to integrate the program with hands-on experiences for the students. So now we're talking to the entrepreneurship and innovation program. Now we're talking to marketing for influencer marketing and other aspects. Now we're talking to tech. Now we're talking to consulting companies to get them to cover staffing, like a staffing placement. So imagine you're in your graduate school program now, or you're an undergraduate now, and you get the opportunity to be part of a pilot program that's paid for by the employer that prepares you for your job while you're still in school before you graduate. So when you walk out, they have their immediate return on investment from you. Because as it is today, you guys, the way that companies hire, and there's typically no onboarding during educational programs like master's in business or business school, or whether you're going to school for biology or a doctor or anything, that you have a ramp up period, you have a training. Now doctor, of course, is different because you have residency and so on and so forth, but I'm talking about while you're in your bachelor's or your master's, and you're prepping for that residency, or you're prepping for that accounting position, or you're prepping for that tech position. So actual support. Thank you so much. And so that, like, it's blowing my own brain is what I'm trying to say. Like, part of my passion and purpose is to blow other people's brains, but our creator through the process is like blowing my own brain on what's like manifesting, and then things like divine downloads that come, and then things that I speak, and the fact that like people are lining up and are receptive. Whereas years ago, I would have been frustrated, and or people that showed up were not receptive. And then now just walking in the power of our creator and the universe and saying, you know what? I know that the people are showing up. I know that the people that are going to get this and want this and line up are showing up, and having faith in that. And the other concept that's manifesting that I also didn't expect, that blew my brain, that I'm super grateful for, speaking of gratitude, every day, all day, travel, you guys. So earlier this year, I mentioned this earlier in the video, we hosted a sponsorship or a hosting session with bloggers and influencers at a travel conference. We had, oh my God, amazing meetings, amazing people, amazing connections, and super, super passionate people. You guys, I'm so like, I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing like what they've walked through. I love like hearing their gifts, talents, and abilities. I love hearing their value, what they've overcome. So feel free to comment below like what you think is your best value, or what you think is your best gift, or what others tell you is your best gift. And so just learned so much about so many people, and we're creating so many things into 2019. So, oh my God, if you don't follow Curb Free Corey, I might be saying the name backwards right now because I'm so excited. You guys, he is in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair since like the age of 3 or 4, and he travels the freaking world. So that tells you the mindset of his and his mom's, like to have zero excuses or zero like limitations or zero fears to do what he loves. And he was the keynote that opened up. He's like one example. So we did that, and then I talked to Patty beforehand of business development. That's a whole nother patience story where I stayed persistent and I kept following up. And she said to like several people that she thought I had the patience of Job. You guys, I bust out laughing, because if you would have met me, or those that know me like for the last 5, 10, 20 years, no one would have ever said Katrina has the patience of Job, like 5, 10 years ago, ever. So to hear someone that had just met me and had 3 or 4 or 5 interactions with me say that was like, whoa. And so she connected me with the CEO of the company. This is one of the biggest travel conference. It's been around for over 10 years. And because I had all these ideas around workshops, okay? To host workshops for hands-on health, hands-on money, hands-on business, with the same content that we're doing with, you know, meal prep, doing smoothie bowls, doing parfaits, doing hands-on workshops with money, like with our 6-pack of wealth, with helping bloggers build their blog to a brand, to a lifestyle brand with multiple income streams from courses, challenges, integrations with things like Herbalife, Canva, Kajabi, if they choose to. Freedom, I'm all about freedom. Why you wouldn't want to be involved with Herbalife, I have no idea. I love Herbalife. However, again, freedom, because I chose it off freedom as well. And so that was my idea. And so we're talking, we're interacting, like the conversation's going great. And then so he says, well, are you also integrating or doing things with hospitality? And I said, absolutely. We've hosted with different retreats with Airbnb. We're looking to host with more tourism bureaus. We're looking to also help with our collaborations, and then also people that come with our retreats. We're teaching them how to run their own retreats. Like we did workshops like that in Costa Rica, in the pool a couple years ago. If you go through some of the posts, you'll see that at the fitlifecreation.com blog link. So if you just go to fitlifecreation.com and then click the blog, you'll find it. So then, you know, we're talking, the conversation's going great. And from there, he says, you guys, he's like, well, do you want to help us build the same thing that you've built for our entire platform and work with the team. So let me pause right there, you guys, because what he was saying, basically the same thing that I've built with faith, persistence, vision, with an all-in-one platform, with the courses, challenges, retreats, and academies, and seeing the vision and walking in the vision and trusting people are showing up. He's like, will you build it for our team? And of course we, you know, whether it's retained, we do a retainer, so on and so forth, to help us do the same thing, because we have the content. It's just a matter of structuring it. And then we also need coaching and help with video and so on and so forth. And I was like, oh my God, yes, 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 infinity percent, yes, yes. And he starts laughing because I was totally me. And I said, I'm honored and grateful because you guys, he didn't meet me in person at the conference because he was running around. I interacted with Patty and several other people. And I said, you know, there's several different ways we can approach it, but like, what's best for you? I said, I'd be honored because this creates another pilot, because we're already talking and doing this in higher ed. Now we're manifesting and setting it up with tech and fitness studios. So that's exactly where I see it going, is not only people integrating into with their own challenges and masterminds and retreats and academies, but I also see to where we're going to help other industries take their brand digital or with influencers. So anyway, needless to say, you guys, that's in process. So just the things that sometimes come up, and I share that from a lens, you guys, of imparting on you. Okay, sorry, my phone's being silly with some updates that Apple wants to do. Okay, imparting on you that anything is possible. The same thing that you see that's limitless. Like I always say, I'm limitless, I'm resilient, and I'm priceless. The same thing is inside of you, but your passion and your purpose and your journey is very different, and your vision for your life is very different than mine, and your experiences are very different, and your faith is very different, and your fears are very different. So depending on where you want to go, the curriculum for your life is going to match what your experiences have been, what your passion and purpose is, and where your vision is going. And so the more, and I was having this conversation with a great friend of mine, Tamika, earlier this week, the more you submit and surrender, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And so I want to leave you with a couple of things as we close. Fourth quarter. Style Bell, so shout out Style. I actually saw this on his Instagram, so I'm going to swipe up real quick. Hold on. Style Bell said on his Instagram, he recently updated this. Okay, so what it says, okay, so what he says, you guys, is make 2019 different now. And like, that's what I was focusing on, but that wasn't the wording I was using. So when I read that, it was like a laser. I was like, yes, that's what I'm doing. Like, that's what I'm doing in everything. Like, I don't feel particularly comfortable in some of the circumstances I have now from an aspect of finances, and still being, you know, over 6 figures in debt, still not having necessarily the income I would love yet, but still choosing joy, love, gratitude, like no matter what, for myself, and compassion, like no matter what. I like playing with these filters, you guys, by the way, can't you tell? I'll post a real video of it because I'm also filming behind the scenes as far as with my Canon, you can see. So I also believe in, back to limitlessness, you guys, I believe in like doing things like extensively. So you can see here, to where you're doing like several things all at once, because then you're repurposing and you're scaling all at the same damn time and saving yourself time. And you're also accelerating time, and the work effort that you're putting out, like it's scaling like crazy. Same thing with, side note, If This Then That and Hootsuite. So if you haven't seen my webinar on social media in a day, I give a lot of this stuff away as a freebie. The other thing I wanted to close with also, so I mentioned like make 2019 different now. And one other thing, so Celeste Richmond just posted this. on her Instagram. So shout out Celeste if you watch this, which I loved because this so resonated as I was planning out this content piece. I was like, oh my God, like I'm so in alignment. Some emotions I have felt in the past week: pure bliss, deep sadness, peace of mind, intense anxiousness, giggly, fearful, pure joy, anger, playfulness, fuck it, bossed up, deep love, understanding, annoyed, accepting, compassionate. And she wrote, when you start unfolding those new layers of your evolution, your human experience becomes intensified. And she also wrote a couple other things. You guys, so when I think of 2018, the human experience has been intensified for me. I don't know about you, but it's been intensified times infinity. Like, I'm like, wow, like God, like I knew I was asking for a lot. And I knew I went from being comfortable when I aimed only yay high, you know, vision at, you know, oh, I'm gonna be in corporate, I'm gonna make 6 figures when I was in college, to now like exploding the vision in every way. But you know, when you ask for something, you have no idea what you're asking for. And then submitting and surrendering to the process. So many intense and extreme emotions on every scale. But then also being grateful, you guys, because realizing that I fully relate to like every aspect of the human emotion. So my live died. Of the human emotion. And then the other aspect was, there's another post that now my phone died, so I can't look at it, but you can go and look at it on your end, that I also wanted to share, and just the perspective of vision. And always, when you go and grow through things, sharing your story, whether like in my case, it's been overcoming health, overcoming business, completely revamping my wealth mindset, and then even though still being in 6 figures of debt currently, completely creating a trajectory to get out of that within the next year, 2 years or less, and then creating what I want. One of the posts, and then always sharing even as I grow through things, maybe not always sharing the nitty-gritty details, but sharing different aspects of what I'm overcoming, or the relatability or the vulnerability, that it's not easy, and that there's always growth levels. I'm being inspired by others as they share their truth and their story and their authenticity and their vulnerability. So Garen Jones, one of my mentors with Herbalife, he posted a post today. So this is, let me look at the date because my phone just died. It's November 21st. So he posted a post today, November 21st, 2018, if you look on his Instagram, and he posted a picture of the Starbucks that he used to go to when he didn't really have a home, when he was 6 figures in debt, and then now going there 7 years later in a completely different state of freedom, of passion and purpose, of financial state, and of everything. So it reminded me, like, look at all that you've transformed in your life. Health, mindset, spirituality, you know, financials, where the money comes from, where it's going, the direction, the vision, just everything. Not yet fully being free in the natural, but having the faith that it's all coming together, and the gratitude for that, and doing it this time on my terms, fully on my terms. And then aligning from passion and purpose, people and profits. And in his post, he shared that. He shared like what it felt like to now be there and to see everything on the other side. And it just encouraged me massively. So my hope and my intention for this is that you are also encouraged massively, whether it is for your passion, your purpose, your vision, blowing up your own brain, stretching beyond your comfort zone, creating what's possible, creating a life and a business you love, and overcoming possibly your health, you know, your business, creating what you love, your money, whatever it is right now for you, that this serves as an example for you. Because it's not by accident, you guys, when you come across a post or a video that's speaking to you and is encouraging you. Because I remember when I was 55 pounds heavier, I would see Jennifer or Nicole Lee's posts, or I would see my coach Ingrid Romero's posts, and those encouraged me that, okay, they were also unstable. They also yo-yoed. and they came out across on the other side, and now they also help people. So that can be me too. So happy Thanksgiving. Give gratitude, you guys, all the time. Like, I can't tell you how much gratitude has absolutely transformed my life in so many ways, because some of the things that you may complain about is something that someone's praying about or wishing for. So have an amazing and powerful, creative, loving, joyful day today and every day. Chat soon.